Hello there, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, Tony Khan.
A released WWE star is heading to TNA.
One of WWE's top stars has claimed they took a pay cut to join the company.
And major backstage hires for both AEW and WWE. I'm Adam Wilborn.
And I'm Andy Murray.
And this is the news.
Truly blessed to cover professional wrestling on a morning like I love this stuff so much. Oh my, this is what I live for. Great matches, great promos, big pay-per-views. Nah. Twitter.
Yes.
Right, you know the score. We're going to run through it. We're going to share our thoughts. We're going to get your thoughts as well. Because I imagine that you are either over here or over here. I cannot imagine there's anyone in the middle on this topic. So, Tony Khan, he had himself one hell of a time on Twitter last night.
He did.
Hell of a ride if you were on the timeline as this broke. It was about 9 p.m. our time, so 4 o'clock on the east.
Mid-afternoon in the US.
Pretty much a perfect time. If you're on the East Coast, 4 p.m., it's like your work is winding down.
Yeah.
Let's go on Twitter, see what Uncle Tony's up to. Yeah, he went nuts. Right, so, and I love it. Like, the first thing he did was he attacked what he perceived to be a double standard, right? Talking about Hook getting an AEW world title shot and talking about Jinder getting a world heavyweight title shot in WWE. I will read the tweet. It's on your screen right now. A double standard. Hook, 28-1 career record. On a winning streak, calls out the champ. A logical challenger sparks online outrage. Which it kind of did. Jinder has lost literally every single match he's in for the past year, immediately gets title shot. Where is the rage? AEW Dynamite tomorrow on TBS.
I love the way he always ends his tweets like that.
Get a little promotion in there. So the flames were already building at this point, right? He'd lit the match, he tossed it on the stack. Everyone saw the USA Network tweet the other day where they referenced Tony has previously said that cagematch.net is a good way to gauge fan feedback, right? USA Network took the piss out of that yesterday and said what was the cage match rate, which I thought was really funny.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I love this. I love these little shots back and forth.
Yeah, this is the sort of banner I can get on board with when they posted the Kurt Angle meme to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Exactly, that's funny. Like, I don't care what sports team you're on with your wrestling company. That's funny.
Yeah.
Tony quote tweeted that.
Here we go.
A moral victory for USA is one win more than their world title contender Jinder Mahal has had for the past 364 days, because it's literally been a full year since he won a match. You really put AEW in our place getting Jinder Mahal in a big match on your TV show. Do it more often. Right, okay, I'll fast forward through the rest a little bit because there's a lot.
Yeah.
Eric Bischoff hit him with a clown emoji. Tony Khan replied with a Dallas still saying, "Get out of my sight, you miserable has-been." And then when someone posted some wrong analysis of Abaddon's recent booking, she got a TBS title shot. Tony replied, going, "Nope, Abaddon returned to AEW. They won a 4-way match on TNT against 4 other great wrestlers to earn a shot. It's completely different than someone going a full year, losing every match they're in and getting a title shot without a single win." And then he replied with a bit of Dave Meltzer saying, "Reading would be your friend, Eric."
There you go.
Talking to Eric Bischoff. So, you know what? I've spoken a lot here. Do something.
I agree with him to a point here in terms of, like you say, I love the back and forth and, just hitting people with facts about, I think it's fair to say, a double standard. People are like, isn't it funny Jinder's doing this? Or, I'm sure this is leading somewhere. I was guilty of saying, they're doing something with this. They haven't just decided, maybe Jinder actually should win the world title before the Royal Rumble. Nevertheless, it was, and despite the fact he had that interaction with The Rock, what's he done? He's just sort of gone, I'll go to NXT for a bit, not really do anything.
His last win actually was on the 10th of January 2023.
Jesus.
I guess where I checked that this morning. Cage match.
There you go. My disagreement with Tony comes when it comes to going after trolls, and you know what I'm talking about with that. Because I always have this opinion, we get very little trolling on social media in comparison to one Tony Khan, one would assume. But I always say the same thing, don't feed the trolls. Whether it be someone on social media or whether it be certain podcasters who only say things to get a reaction and therefore more attention for their podcast, sometimes it's just funny to watch them shout into the void and get no response. But Tony Khan's going to do what Tony Khan does, and I do love it, to be fair.
I have two takes. I have an objective one where I am in complete agreement with you. I think that, objectively, it's bad to engage with trolls, especially the paid professional ones.
Yes.
who's are responsible for largely tanking 2 major wrestling promotions.
Yep.
And yet we still put value in their opinions for some reason.
It is funny when he's like, God, he was always like, this is reminding me of WCW, or this is reminding me of TNA. And I was like, what have those two things got in common?
And you know what? The thing that proves that Eric Bischoff is full of is that when as soon as he got the helm in WCW, it was all about punching up to WWE, taking shots, spoiling world title results on TV.
That infamous image of him holding up the sign.
This is what he was all about, and yet now it's bad when AEW does it.
No.
Okay, Uncle Eric. However, right, that's the objective side, whatever, apart from the Bischoff stuff. Subjectively...
I think that's objective, actually, with Bischoff.
Yeah, subjectively, I love this. I think it's incredible. Look, it's pro wrestling. It's a trash talker's industry. Why on earth would you want to turn this silly little sport where there's no such thing as professionalism or decorum or whatever else, why would you want to take this carnival that is so much fun and turn it into match of the bloody day where everyone's media trained? You interview someone after the show and they go, yeah, you know, it was a great show, but it's all about the fans and putting... No. It's all about jumping on Twitter and being a jerk. I love this of Tony Khan. Now, of course, sometimes it goes very wrong, right? Him taking the piss out of Vince McMahon's allegations, which was funny in itself because Vince McMahon's a dirtbag, and then hiring Ric Flair, that doesn't compute, right? So there is definitely times when it is, when I will criticize it. However, if he's just poking a little fun and taking a few shots in there, I don't care about professionalism because I don't work for him.
Yeah, and if you are going to go after the trolls, make it entertaining, like a screenshot from Dallas, rather than going, actually, I think you'll find it's just far more entertaining that way. And yeah, Hook is justified in wanting to. His win percentage ridiculous.
This is it. The other side of it is that Tony is right.
Yeah.
So I'll leave it on this. I had one very funny interaction on Twitter last night.
Ooh.
Where I tweet a bunch of stuff because I get into this nonsense. I wish Triple H did it, honestly. I wish Triple H was this silly.
Ooh, yeah.
One guy replied going, no, Tony is a CEO. He should be more professional, like Dana White.
What?
Yep, Dana White. Man who cannot go a sentence without throwing in a 4-letter word. A man who slapped his wife in public.
Jeez, yeah.
I'll leave you with that.
Model professional that he is.
But let us know what you think of Tony on Twitter in the comment section. Look, this is not going to be balanced in any way. I know that, you know that, everyone knows that. But if you're a jerk, I will just mute you from the channel.
Simple.
So, yeah.
Right, let's move on and talk about Top Dollar. He's going to be showing up at...
from Tony Khan to Top Dollar.
Actually, I've said he's going to be showing up. We don't know that. He's going to appear on Hard to Kill, which is coming from Las Vegas very soon, of course. TNA breaking the news. AJ Francis, the former Top Dollar, I should say, debuting his new music video alongside DJ Kids at the pay-per-view. The music video for We Outside, but the S in outside is a $sign. Huh?
Yes.
No word on whether actually AJ Francis is going to make an appearance. I'd like him to. He's done some stuff already, of course, since his non-compete expired from being released from WWE. He's worked for Game Changer Wrestling, and he's wrestled for Florida's Coastal Championship Wrestling on the 6th of January. I'm excited to see what he does next, because for all the, isn't it funny, he botched that move, blah, blah, blah. Like, in his time in WWE, he did some great stuff, and he underwent massive personal change, so credit to him.
I am an unapologetic Top Dollar mark. I think that he is a chaotic force of fun. In professional wrestling, whether he is trying to beef with the Young Bucks over shoes, or just being silly on Twitter. I really like this guy.
Yeah.
Also, he really does do a lot of good, like in the real world.
That's a good point. Yeah.
He has his food drives and everything. Like he's very silly, but he's also he does lots of good. And he's not the best wrestler in the world, but he's fun and chaotic.
The perfect fit for someone like TNA as well. I'd say,
definitely. AJ Francis coming through. I do hope that he has an in-person. What accent was that? I hope he has an in-person appearance.
Me too.
Because it's just one of those things. Like I love Limp Bizkit, I love Top Dollar.
Yeah.
Silly things that are a bit daft and fun.
I just find it weird when music and wrestling collide. It can go one of two ways. But recently it's been great. Obviously with Swerve, for example.
Sure, yeah. Fozzy, obvious. What's the word? I mean, there's loads of okay, let's do the best and worst music in wrestling.
Okay.
Things.
What was your man at the Royal Rumble a while back? I loved him.
I don't know.
The performance where they were like, try time for it.
Hardy.
That's the one, yeah. That's obviously that's the gold standard.
What's the worst for you?
I mean, it's a hard watching. I was going to say Lemmy trying to get through the performance when he's like, I've kind of forgotten the words. What else is bad?
Downstate doing Cody's. Sorry, Downstate, but I don't know what happened there. I'm sure they're really good live otherwise.
I'll tell you what else is really enjoyable and very popular in the What Culture office. The hard shift from NXT In Your House Wacky Rewind, remember Todd Pettingill, to
Cold Oregon. Yes. That was so funny.
Watch that. We watch that in the office about every 2 weeks.
Hey there, wrestling fans. Welcome to the show. Code Orange.
You know that type of Triple H things now.
Incredible. My God Satan every time I die, right at the top for me. And the bottom, I'm sorry, Downstate. I'm sure if Downstate look at that show and they would go, yeah, we work at our best. Like, no hate on them, they make good themes.
But yeah, best luck to AJ Francis. I hope he does some great things in TNA.
Yeah, exactly. It's my turn, isn't it?
It is your turn.
This is a vintage news video. It's all over the place. What's my story? Oh yes, LA Knight took a pay cut to return to WWE. I thought this was quite notable because when you think of where he is now, it's insane to think that he had to take a pay cut to join the biggest company in the world.
And shock horror, another great Chris Van Vliet interview.
Yeah, well, what a surprise.
Every bloody week. Just give the rest of us a chance, mate.
Who's this Van Vliet guy? I keep hearing his name popping
Top boy.
up. He's tremendous at his job.
Love you, Chris.
Best in his lane, 100%.
I'd say so,
100%. And very handsome as well.
Yeah, apart from that time his chest got destroyed by Tyler Breeze.
It's not fair that he's like older than both of us. Like, I look like a rotten kiwi fruit.
I'm going to catch up with him. I'm trying to catch up with him over WrestleMania weekend, and we can discuss how much of a better father he is than me.
Oh, gee whiz, that's a bit far.
And look, obviously he just does everything better than everyone, so probably.
What a lovely man.
Yes.
Anyway, he was speaking with Chris Van Vliet, LA Knight was, and he spoke about how when he was in Impact, he was making really good money towards the end, and he'd been broke for so long that it was difficult for him to leave there. Mm-hmm. So he kind of stuck around. They made him the world champion, but he wasn't really the top guy. And he was on, he's earning a good living. He went to the NWA, but then the pandemic happened, and that kind of became a thing. He had a conversation with his girlfriend. Shoes of a champion, of course. He had a conversation with his girlfriend where he was like, well, this thing just might be over. But he eventually just kind of shot his shot. I've got a quote here saying, so finally, when I did make the jump over there to WWE, there was a little bit of not necessarily negotiation, but it was just kind of like I knew I was going to have to take a pay cut coming in. But I was willing to take the pay cut on the bets that I could turn it into much more, and he clearly has.
Yeah.
Because I had hit the ceiling basically in Impact, and I had an awesome time in the NWA for that little bit where we were able to do before the pandemic hit. If you want to know more about like how this came together, he reached out to he just had Triple H's number, but he wasn't sure how it was going to go because he left with heat in 2014, even though he didn't really know Triple H. Mm-hmm. But LA Knight said, but then when I was at the point where I'm like, this ride is probably over, I was like, well, screw heat. I'm messaging. So I was like, hey, look, this is what I've been doing for the last year that ended. Here's pictures, here's videos, whatever. And then I just let talent relations know, hey, look, by the way, I sent this email, whatever, just giving a heads up. And that's where it was just kind of like, well, we got to talk about some things. So there you go. He said as well that he was initially told, we'll put you in the PC, but not necessarily on TV. Prove he's a team player, all that stuff. Obviously, he got on TV, and now he's main event in the Royal Rumble.
It's awesome.
Apart from the Royal Rumble itself.
Yeah. It's a credit to him. One of the best examples of taking a tiny step back for a huge step forward. Yeah. Just reinforcing the whole back yourself idea. He's a made man, of course, now. And all credit to him. But go and check out the full interview on Chris's channel because he's just so good. But both of them are, LA Knight and Chris Van Vliet. But excited to see what 2024 holds for LA Knight, in fact. Yeah,
100%. It'll be interesting to see how his overness sustains throughout the year, for sure.
Hopefully he gets an appearance at WrestleMania for once.
Yeah, poor guy.
Ridiculous that they didn't do that with him last year. Anyway, let's move on and talk about some new hires for AEW and WWE. A new chief operating officer in AEW. This news was brought by Fightful Select that Kosha Irby is coming into AEW. Later, this was confirmed by Dave Meltzer of Wrestling Observer, Figure 4 Online. Significant wrestling experience, having been WWE's regional director of live events from 2011 to 2014. Also been chief marketing officer for the Clemson University Athletic Department. That's fine. More interesting though, also worked for the Professional Bull Riders CMO.
Hell yeah, brother.
That's what I'm interested in. WWE also employing Lee Fitting as a de facto Kevin Dunn replacement, bringing him in as head of media and production.
Yeah. I don't know how, it's difficult to analyse these, so we'll keep it really brief. Kevin Dunn obviously left a big hole in WWE and their production and everything else. I'm really interested to see how Lee Fitting, love that name.
Already a good fitting replacement. Already a good start. I really like the Ciampa walk to the gorilla promo bit that they did. Just something a little bit different, breaking the norms that we've seen on telly for 30 years. It feels like.
40 almost.
40 probably, yeah.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see the WWE production changes in particular. A lot of what I personally don't like about WWE is production related. So if there's some changes, that's positive.
Let's get some bull riders in AEW.
Hell yeah. And with regards to AEW, they've lost a lot of people lately.
Yeah. Big change up, isn't it?
Good luck to the new starts.
Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions. At What Culture WWE, of course, you want to get in touch with us. Shipit's card even stall starts us off today. Happy Wednesday, legends. Happy Wednesday.
Buy some cards.
Shipit. I heard Will Wood on Hamlet talking about Bianca Belair's WrestleMania booking on the world's best podcast, What Culture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcast from.
Biggest as well.
Indeed. When it actually gets published. What would you think about teaming Bianca and Jade Cargill and winning the tag team belts? I could see them being unbeatable. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who could defeat Jade and Bianca? It'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Sure. If we don't have a big, I'd like a big Bianca singles match because she's amazing in the stadiums, and I'd like a Jade singles match as well. That being said, maybe they feel they want to put Jade in that environment. It would make sense because she's always been quite green. You'd imagine she'll come out of the performance center for a bit of extra sheen and polish, but she's not going to go out there and wrestle like Manami Toyota.
Natalia's Instagram working the other day, wasn't she?
She was, yeah she was. So yeah, I have high hopes for her, but yeah, I don't think it's the worst idea in the world.
Yeah, I'll keep it brief on this because I've banged on about it a lot. Jade Cargill could be someone they save for the post-WrestleMania. So they're like, we're going to build you up to your first WrestleMania because they've got a lot of WrestleMania 40, WrestleMania 41 that could be the big coming out party for Jade Cargill properly, and they're clearly in no rush for her. In terms of Bianca Belair, there's a little bit of me, and I obviously, want a match for her at WrestleMania, a little bit of me that thinks that Bianca and Montez Ford might be the hosts of WrestleMania, considering all the buzz around those two at the moment, of course. I've pitched before Tiffany Stratton versus Bianca Belair, but yeah, the women's tag titles deserve more prominence. Obviously, they were defended on Raw. I think by the time we get to WrestleMania, it's probably going to be Asuka's and Kairi Sane's titles. So yeah, they need a big opponent, and I can't think of a team that I'd be like, well, you can't beat them than Bianca and Jade, and it'd be arguably a good way to introduce Jade as tag teams. Obviously, it's a little bit of a taste, but if you need a break, you got Bianca Belair, one of the best wrestlers in the world, there to pick up the slack.
Yeah, absolutely.
Zero-ness. We're talking about Jade Cargill. Jinder Mahal. That's what I meant. Talking about Jinder Mahal.
Jinder Cargill.
Yes. Zero-ness says, here's a theory. Jinder Mahal versus Rollins next week gets DQ'd with interruptions from Indus Sher. Obviously, Jinder's had his relationships with them.
Oh, yeah.
So we get Jinder versus Rollins. Punjabi prison match at the Royal Rumble, baby. 2017, apparently, since we last saw that.
Only if we get the great Khali coming down and taking the belt, like last time.
They could just be like, put some moves on him holding the title. Who's the world champion? Doesn't matter. Jinder's holding the title. Bloody great Khali's holding the title.
I'm detecting a little bit of tongue-in-cheek with the question. So, with that in mind, yes.
Yeah.
It's one of the all-time worst stipulations.
Oh my God, it's so bad.
It's dreadful. And that's why they should do it, because I need a laugh.
People moan about certain other match types and cells and what have you. I can't really see it. You literally can't see anything.
Yeah.
If you're in the arena, you're just like, cool. I guess I'll come back when the next Rumble starts.
Yeah, it's not like those are bars of wood.
No.
But yeah,
you have to nominate a door, and that door opens, and then it won't open again, or some bollocks.
Is it door?
And then you can just climb out anyway. So okay.
It's crazy. So no, but yeah.
I think the Jinder match is a means to an end for maybe like Damien Priest or whatever. I don't think they're going to be like, maybe Jinder's going to be world champion.
Yeah.
We're on the road to WrestleMania now at the start of the year. I don't know what they're doing with this Jinder match, but I don't think you need to be concerned about a title change.
No.
Final question today comes from Daz, but before we get to Daz's question, I want to give a massive shout out to him because this is the time of year Daz runs the Disney 5K, 10K, half and full marathons in full wrestling attire. We'll try and put the images of him doing it as a variety of different wrestlers on your screen right now. But Daz also says, I'm heading to Tampa for the Rumble in 2 weeks, lucky bastard, and heading to Daly's Place tonight. Because you can like 2 shows. Quite right, Daz. What do you think is more likely tonight, a Mercedes debut or a Rankings Are Back? Sorry, what do you think is more likely for a Mercedes debut, a Rankings Are Back announcement or a Scotty 2 Hotty dark match?
Is this the gentleman that sent us the Zubaz the other year?
It might be, yes.
Legend
I think so.
of the game. Love you, sir. Thank you so much. I wear them in the house every day. My girlfriend thinks I'm an idiot. Sasha. Mercedes. Yeah. Like when Tony Khan goes insane on Twitter and just starts going nuts and taking shots, he usually has something big up his sleeve.
Yes.
Usually. That's the pattern.
It's homecoming, it's Daly's Place. I think, the general reports appear to be it's going to happen. It might not happen tonight, but who knows? These things change, and if you've got Mercedes and you want to debut her, where better than do it than what a reaction it would be tonight in Daly's, for example.
It'd be fun.
A Scotty 2 Hotty dog match. It's funny. And obviously, I don't think she's going to be at the Rumble, but that doesn't really need to be said.
No,
she's going to AEW.
I agree.
But thank you for all your questions. And if you're stuck for something to do, waiting for Tony Khan to tweet again, you know what you can do? Check out this video.
Tony Khan.